Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Listen, I get it, okay? I need to understand what I did to make you cheat.
Pete, it's not anything you did. You didn't do anything. I mean, you were great.
Will you please cut the bullshit and have a talk with me?
Fine. Cutting the bullshit. It got really hard to keep taking care of you when you stopped taking care of yourself. I tried to get you out of the house. I tried to get you off your little island you love so much, the couch. You didn't want to see the light of day. God, there was 1 week when you wore sweatpants. Every day.
Oh, you know what? If they were Sean John sweatpants, it would have been fine. But because they're Costco brand, it's like the worst thing I could do.
That has nothing to do with it. That's what you don't get.
I'm sorry that I didn't end up being who we thought I was going to be, you know? I tried really hard. I promise you that. I just didn't have it in me. I think if you just maybe tried harder.
Oh, I tried. You have no idea how hard I tried, Peter. I talked to a therapist. I talked to my mother. I read every book possible. I took love seminars. I took sex seminars. None of it worked. None of it made a difference to you. And I couldn't drown with you anymore. Don't you dare sit there and tell me that I didn't try. I did. You were just too stupid to notice.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think? You ready to start?
Let's do it, dude.
All right. Welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men. I'm your host, Steve B. This is Coffee Break Conversations for the 21st Century. It's a tagline I'm going with these days.
I like that.
So I'm joined by my guest, Brent C., returning guest.
Hello, guys.
Frontman.
I just took a bow, even though there's no video.
You lie, man. There's no bow. You did like a little curtsy.
Well, it was like a chair bow.
I'm exposing you, bro.
That's fine.
I
I curtsied in my chair. I'm also wearing a dress.
This is accurate.
It's 2019. Get with it, people.
Now, Brent is the front man from 8 Graves. You guys might recognize him. Him and his partner, Nick, were here a few months ago.
A little bit ago,
A little bit ago. It was about like 20-some episodes ago.
That's true.
Wow.
That's
Time
true.
flies, bro.
It's crazy. That's so cool that you're dude. Soon you'll be doing your 100th episode.
Oh, God. I'm coming up on a 1-year anniversary right now.
That's awesome.
I just want to make it past that. But, yeah, so we're here. Now, the topic today is heartbreak.
Yeah, dude.
There is actually a reason why I wanted to do this with you specifically.
Oh, well, that's pretty interesting.
And, like, I'm not trying to, like, flatter you or anything like that. But there were times in my life when I went through some legit heartbreak, and it was actually your songs and lyrics.
How about that?
That were there with me every step of the way.
Well, that is really flattering to hear. So thank you for that. That's awesome.
That's
man.
a true story, man.
I'm glad they could be there for you.
They were, but I feel like this is such a big part of just everybody's lives. But for men, I feel like it might be a little different than with women. I know because with men, there's like a lot of ego involved and
too much.
Yeah, I feel like our reactions to it, while not exclusively, we're not the only ones that can react unhealthily to it.
We tend to. I feel
we just
like
react differently.
Yeah, I feel like there's the trope of like the unreasonable, over emotional woman, and I feel like men, in my experience, handle that rejection way worse.
Yeah, I feel like with us, we're a lot more injured by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very hard for men to take those hits to their ego in a way.
Well, rejection's a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't have to be. I guess that's
true.
I guess that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that is. I mean, like I said, it's something I think most people go through.
I think everybody does.
Now, that's where I might disagree with you. Respectfully, of course.
Yeah.
But that's also another topic I wanted to touch on tonight. So let's start off with a simple question. Like in your life, I know for me, I've been through quite a bit of quite a few breakups.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you been through a lot, a few?
So for the longest time, I would say until I was about 29 years old, I had like 3 girlfriends in my life. And I was not like a dating, like I wasn't a serious relationship person.
Okay.
So I have always thought that, no, I didn't go through like a lot of breakups. But at the same time, even if you're a person who does like a little bit more casual dating, in some small ways, I feel like you go through more breakups than people who are in relationships, because you do have these comings and goings of people that you involve yourself with. And that can be sometimes harder. I think losing the potential of somebody can sometimes be harder than actually losing a person.
That's true.
So that coming and going of the casual dater is something that that is hard to deal with sometimes, just as much as a breakup can be, you know?
Well, I mean, one of the things I find is that like the duration of time that you're with someone doesn't really matter so much for how painful the breakup may be.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because I've been with people for like 1 or 2 months, and the breakups were horrendous.
Yeah, I had a girl that I never even really, early on, I had a girl that I never even really got the chance to date. She moved away, and I remember saying out loud, like, I think I'm going to cry about this. And I was like confused by it, you know, like I was like, this is going to make me cry. And I'm not that way. Like,
I'm not either.
I'm not the one to cry over a relationship at all.
That's where my ego gets in the way.
See, it's not it's not even my ego as much as I think I have a very healthy outlook on things beginning and ending. And I'm a pretty like emotionally blunted person in general. So like I can skate around things pretty easily without letting it get too on top of me.
For me, I have to be honest, like I do have like, you know, my own fair share of ego.
Of course.
But
every healthy person should have a little bit of ego.
Yeah, there's a healthy amount.
Absolutely.
But one of the things is that like my mindset with like a breakup or something like that is I don't want to feel like someone else got the best of me.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them like the perceived satisfaction.
Yeah.
That they hurt me.
Yeah.
So I always keep it to myself.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
That's just how I get through it.
I'm very much, if that helps that person, then if that helps that person feel better about themselves, if I can be a target and they can misdirect maybe some negative energy in my way, and that helps them grow and helps them heal and helps them become a better version of themselves, then I'm more than willing to sacrifice that part of myself for them.
And the funny thing is that, like, at least in my life, 90% of the breakups have been like, they haven't been like spiteful or like angry. It's not like,
most of the people I dated actually will probably vouch that I'm a pretty decent person. There's only a handful.
Yeah.
Only a handful that I think really dislike me.
Yeah, I'm sure I have a couple that probably would have no interest in like being friends. Not that I'm really. That's not my thing anyway.
I am friends with a lot of people I dated and stuff, but
I can't do it.
Yeah, I can. It doesn't really bother me. I think that people think of relationships too much as like them rejecting you is them rejecting who you are as a person, and not rejecting your team. Right?
I could see that.
I think, and guys should look at it more like sports, because guys love sports. Mm-hmm. Remember, like
I don't watch sports.
A lot of guys watch sports. Probably guys who listen.
It's something men do.
Yeah, but like if you watch basketball, James Harden is a great basketball player.
Great beard.
Great beard. Russell Westbrook's a great basketball player. They got traded to Russell Westbrook gets traded to the Rockets this summer, and everyone's like, how are they going to play together? Mm-hmm. And it's not that either of them is a bad basketball player. They're both great. But it's the question of how they're going to work together. And I think people need to look at relationships more through that lens. Sometimes you could both be great people.
That's true.
Doesn't mean you're going to be great together.
I 100% agree. Man, I just lost what I was going to say.
I know. I went off on a tangent.
No, it's okay. The basketball thing.
Sports.
Made me think of beards, and then I got all sidetracked. But, yeah, it's one of those things where, at least with like being friends afterwards, I just have no interest in it, because it's like once you become like a romantic item,
yeah,
I feel like you're now at a new level, and it's hard to really ever go back down, because it's like that the capacity was there at one point, and it's like you're never really. It's just different.
I think for me as a friend, what I like to say is I want to facilitate my friends' greatness, right? Like I want to be a person who helps my friends be as good as they can be.
Okay.
When I'm dating someone, I feel the same way. I want to help them be like the best person that they can be. I want to be supportive, and I want to help them grow and self-actualize. So my goal in both situations is the same. And as long as I look at it through that lens, I've always been able to have, there's no step up or step down for me. It's just, somebody who's in my life, whether it's a friend or someone I'm dating, I always want to help them be the best that they can. I want to support them and give them whatever I can or whatever they need from me. So I look at it more through that lens, and I don't look at it as like I'm getting a more or a less. I just look at it as my role stays the same, and maybe what I get in return might change, but my role always stays the same. And I think you just have to look at your personal relationships with a level of altruism, just to try to be good to people. And as long as you think that way, then you don't get that much stolen from you.
That's true. It's tough because when you become fully invested in something and it doesn't work out, the other person maybe says, listen, I think you're a great person. It's just, this isn't right.
Yeah.
It may be, it's tough to accept that, and it's tough to, because at some point, no matter what happens, even if you get the whole, it's not you, it's me spiel, you got to realize, not realize, but the way you process it in your head is that, well, clearly it's something about me. If that person doesn't, isn't interested enough to want to stay, then, it's not like they're never going to date anyone else again. It's
of course.
I'm not,
yeah, but at the same time, they might date somebody else right after you, and that might not work because they're still in that same headspace, because they're still in that point in their maturation or in that point of their development.
That's true.
Like sometimes people aren't ready.
Well, no, that's 100%
like I know for
true.
sure. I dated a girl that like I probably kind of should have married, and I wasn't ready. I just wasn't there yet, and she was 100% down to just get dragged through the mud for me, and deal with me being a little bit more crazier than I am now, and I couldn't do it to her. Cared about it too much.
It's a little crazy because I do remember there was a much crazier Brent back in the day.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
The Brent today is much more thoughtful, and
I was kind of like a dick.
I mean, listen, everybody has dickish moments.
Yeah.
I never thought of you as a dick. I always genuinely enjoyed like hanging out with you. But there was, in the like the band days, when we were all playing together, like there was a wilder Brent.
I was just like all id, dude. I was just super like pleasure seeking, very like impulsive. Just doing exactly like what I wanted to do all the time. And now I still do that, but I do that with actual consideration for other people's feelings.
Yeah.
And that not everybody has the same responses to situations as I sometimes have. And I always thought if I told the truth, I was honest about my position and stayed open in my communication, that I couldn't be at fault. I think I was approaching my personal relationships like I was a lawyer. Like I provided you the evidence.
Yeah.
I told you what to expect. This is what you signed up for.
It's yours to do
and if
with
it
what
hurts
you want.
Exactly. If it hurts your feelings, that's your own fault.
You knew what you were getting into.
Exactly. So like I start seeing a girl and I'm like, I'm not going to date you. I'm going to hook up with other people, and that's how it's going to be. And I think that now I'm off the hook because I told them that. And that doesn't change the fact that sometimes that's going to hurt somebody's feelings.
True, but also if you're upfront with someone like that, like I believe it is our responsibility to let someone be aware of what it is they're getting into.
For sure.
I mean, and there is a level of personal responsibility too.
But you also are a smart enough person, and you have to be a smart enough person to read who can and cannot deal with that.
That's true.
And you can read people's signals. You know when someone's starting to become emotionally invested in you. And for you to allow them to continue to do that,
even if you tell them all the warnings,
it doesn't matter.
World, yeah.
You're still an asshole.
You're smart enough to know that they're not getting through.
If you are a skydiving company and somebody signs a waiver that if they die, it's not your fault, and they die, you should still be upset that they died, regardless of whether or not.
It doesn't mean you shouldn't take the safety precautions.
Exactly. So that's my whole thing, is just because I've given them a caveat that gets me off the hook morally, so to speak, it's not. You still know what you're doing to somebody, and you still know what you're doing is wrong. And it's important to read who it, because by the way, there are both men and women who are not interested in dating anyone, who are self-focused, who are career-driven, and who still want to have physical intimacy with somebody who respects them, but are not really interested in having a relationship. And if you are a person who doesn't want to have a relationship, and then you need to find somebody who's on the same page as you, who is actually on the same page as you. Not that accepts your terms.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as being on the same page. Both of you feeling the same way and being like, I like your company, I enjoy engaging with you physically, but I don't want to date you. That's the same page. Just you telling them your terms and saying I'm going to take whatever I want from you, regardless of whether or not you're really okay with it. That's callous.
Yeah,
it's irresponsible.
It's like, I think, what was it? Talladega Nights or something. Oh yeah, Talladega Nights. He's like, with all due respect, that ain't worth whatever the thing was. It doesn't work like that. You don't just get to say with all due respect and then say whatever you want.
Exactly, and that's kind of what it is. You can say, hey, have this so it doesn't hurt your feelings, and then you still know that like you're hurting their feelings. It's not okay.
It's not a free pass to just act like an asshole.
No, and that's kind of what I was doing for the longest time. Is I really I thought if I was transparent with my ideology, that I'm off the hook. And in reality, like you're not.
It's just passing responsibility on, and in your head, that's what it seems like.
It's your fault you got hurt.
Yeah,
you did this to yourself.
I've been saying it. I been saying it, Miguel?
That's it.
Been saying it for 10 damn years.
It's not okay.
So one of the things that we brushed on for a second in the opening was, has everybody dealt with rejection?
Yeah.
Now, here's my thing. There are people out there who I feel like never actually went through the process of being rejected by somebody. Maybe, you're exceptionally good looking and everybody just wanted to be with you and you basically got to pick whoever you wanted to be with at whatever time. There's some people who I really believe never felt that pain of rejection, because I feel like that's such an important part of growing up, and it's it's an important part of human development and developing yourself into a good person.
Yeah.
Because you need to respect that power that love may give you over another person. And if you're just willy-nilly with that, you're never going to treat it with any respect, and you're not going to respect the damage that you could potentially do to another person.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody goes through rejection. Maybe not everybody gets dumped by people, but
I mean, if
you think about your
romantic
life,
rejection,
But if you think about your life,
okay, it's been great.
Yeah, but for me, I've broken up with people who, how attractive somebody is not necessarily directly proportional to my likelihood to stay with them.
True.
I've dated people that are really, 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 really hot who I could not be with. I was like, this is just not gonna happen. And in those moments, you almost want it to, because you're like, it's, at my core, I'm still a dude. I'm still like an insecure dude. I still want to walk around with some arm candy and have other guys be jealous of me for that, right? Like we all have that part of us. I try to pay as little attention to that part of myself as I can, but it's still a part of me.
Still wired in there.
Yeah, and I've dated some people who are very, very, very beautiful, who there was no way I was going to stay with them. There was no way I was dating them. And so I think, and I know that a couple of them were really, really interested in dating me. And I'm very average looking. So it's not necessarily always about, especially as we get older and a little bit more secure in who we are as people. I think that showing off piece becomes far less important than actual valuable companionship.
The reason that I bring up that particularly is because in my life I've dated a couple girls that, when you get to know someone, you start getting their history, and, the dating history and stuff. And I realized, I'm like, you've broken up with everybody you've been with. You've never actually been out of control in that sense. You've always had the control in the relationship. You decided when it ended.
So yes and no. Until they see, because this is the thing, real relationships, and I think you can attest to this now. You're building your family, right? You're growing and changing together now. Real relationships, as we get older, require complementary skill sets, patience, and knowing how to deal with events that arise that represent, an obstacle, that represent difficulty. And when you're somebody who has not had those skills taught to you because of rejection, maybe you were the hottest girl all through high school or the hottest guy all through high school, and maybe you did whatever it was that you were going to do, and you dated whoever you want to, and then you get up into a couple of years later. It's the when the hottest chick from your high school and the hottest dude from your high school wind up marrying each other, and they're not really that happy.
Yeah.
You know, once you get into a situation where you like have to actually have adult conversations and adult problem solving skills, and you've never really, you know, that's when you're going to be rejected. That's when someone's going to be like, I can't make a relationship with you. You don't know anything about anything. You know, so I think the superficiality factor, I think, has a lot more to do with more juvenile relationships. I think as we grow and we become adults, and especially now, you know, people are getting married older.
Mm-hmm.
People are falling into their relationships a lot older. You know, our folks, my mom and dad got married when they were 18, 19 or whatever, right?
22.
And that was very common. Now you have one of your friends get engaged at 22. You're like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Like, not,
you sure you wouldn't
you're
do
too
this?
young. So it's not. Now as we get older and we become more confident in who we are and we know more about what we need, I think that the superficiality of how people look only appeals to people who are very vapid, who are social media obsessed, who are, but in reality, your ability to contribute to a relationship is going to be a major factor in what makes you desirable as a partner. And your looks are just not going to be the only thing that does it, man.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And there's definitely something that I had that came to my attention when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, in my 20s, I realized some of these girls, like, you don't know what you're doing to other guys. Like, listen, it's fine to go
Guys
date.
do it too.
No, guys do
Yeah.
it too. I'm just saying this is
your experience.
Yeah, my experience.
Yeah.
Is that some of these girls, they didn't respect, like, the power that contract of romantic relationship gives them.
But then think about the power that they lose when that same hot chick that we knew that was kind of always a piece of shit now is trying to marry some super rich guy.
Yeah.
Right? So now they're sacrificing what they might have wanted in a partner because they don't have the skills to bring to the table in other ways. Guys do the same thing. You know, the jock in high school that just kind of becomes a loser afterwards, and then he's trying to marry some rich old chick who maybe he's not that attracted to. But like, I think everybody at some point, if you don't deal with rejection, you're going to deal with some level of sacrifice, right? You're going to give up. You're going to negotiate away something that you want in order to land yourself in a relationship that is acceptable for your whatever your terms are at that point in time.
I like that. Because, I mean, that's true. Like, yeah, I believe that. I think that's right. Because if you don't deal with that rejection at some point, you're just kind of you're just pushing back the inevitable.
That's
like
it.
It's coming.
At some point,
it's going to be worse the longer it is.
And your looks only are going to get you by for so long. You know, on either end of the spectrum, you're only going to be, you know, all of us inevitably are going to get old and disgusting unless you're like Helen Mirren, right? She's like 80
What is
and
she
still
on?
hot. I don't know.
She is still like a very, like, a distinguished, beautiful old lady.
She's the like most attractive woman. There's never been a woman at her age more attractive than she is.
How old is Jane Fonda?
I don't know, dude. She's got to be about the same though, right?
Fonda's getting up there.
Yeah.
She looks good.
She's doing all right.
Yeah, good for her.
Older women just shutting it down.
Not,
but I'm just saying, most people are not going to stay attractive forever.
Exactly.
Inevitably, we're all going to get old. We're all going to be gross, and you know, that's not going to be forever, man. You know,
yeah,
it's not going to be forever.
I like that. Definitely change my perspective on that one.
Yeah, dude. That's why for me, I was so, like I said, I thought earlier on in my life I was kind of a dick, and now you know I've focused so much more on trying to be kind and constructive. And yeah, dude, you're cold.
I'm not cold, but it's like I feel it in my feet right now.
Yeah.
The studio is not done, as you guys have seen on my IG stories.
Yeah,
Still
dude.
working out here.
We got some insulation up though. We're killing it.
Yeah, it is much warmer than it was, 72 hours
I'm actually
ago.
pretty comfortable, and I'm always cold. So,
Oh, that's good.
but yeah. So I focused a lot on trying to be nicer and just being like a more complete intellectually and you know, intellectual wise and emotional wise. I tried to be a more complete person because I know not even just for dating people, but for your friendships, for people you want to have in your life, you be a desirable person. You want to surround yourself
Absolutely.
with good people. You got to bring something to the table.
What have you learned over the years, like through breakups and relationships beginning and ending and all that stuff? What are some of the things that like what are some of the what's the word I'm looking for? The advances, the growths that you've made as a person. I know for me, those have been some of the most enlightening times in my life.
Yeah.
Was going through, the pain of a breakup, or you reevaluate, you self-reflect, and you really take into account all the things that you maybe weren't paying attention to before.
Yeah.
you know?
To me, I think it's always been about like, and I don't think I realized it, but as I've gotten older, I realized the number one lesson that I've always taken away from that stuff is you just have to do the best that you can to handle people with care. You know, my whole thing was always, I never want to be a source of pain in anybody's life long term. Obviously, you break up with somebody or something, you know, at that moment in time, you're hurting them. There's no way around it, right? Like,
That's true. Even if you have the best intentions, like it's a painful process.
there's no way that you're going to break up with somebody and not hurt them at that moment in time. But you never want to be somebody who leaves a lasting, you know, you don't want to leave any permanent damage, you know. And I think that through breaking up with people, and I've tried to apply that in a lot of different areas of my life. You know, I always want to, when we're kids, we're taught to, you know, if you go make a mess in a place, you're supposed to like leave it cleaner than you found it. I always try to say that we should be doing the same thing with people. You want to leave them better than you found them in every way that you can.
There's a thing that I do with my son, and I try to, like a point I always try to make about, you know, being mindful of people's feelings and your impact on the people around you. You know, you take a glass plate or a plate, whatever the hell they're made out of, porcelain, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But say the plate represents a person's feelings. It's like, well, you know, you do something that's careless or thoughtless and you broke their feelings. You break the plate. Oh, okay. Well, you could apologize. Say, I'll help clean it up, you know. But that plate is never going to be the same again.
The analogy
Even if you
I have
glue
is
it all together.
the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah.
Right? You could squeeze it, and the toothpaste will come out. You say you're sorry. You're never getting that toothpaste back in that tube.
Never.
And, you know, that's something that I've really tried to, and that doesn't mean that you're going to stay with everybody that you date. Obviously, you're going to break up with them, but there's a difference between breaking up with somebody and disrespect. You know, you cheat on somebody, and you might actually damage their long-term ability to trust another person, right?
Big time.
If you break up with someone and you say, hey, look, these are the reasons, you know, these are some things that I'm looking for that I'm not getting from you, and you have all these other amazing qualities. That's why I'm here. But, you know, these couple shortcomings are why I don't think I can stay around. You know, having like kind and honest conversations, and you know, it's always going to sting in the moment. Yeah. But that doesn't have to be the same thing as leaving like a lasting impression on that, a negative
devastating
impression, and leaving a negative lasting impression on now the way that they look at the world or they see things.
I feel like so many of us are just, I mean, for lack of a better term, we're such pussies when it comes to breakups.
Yeah.
Because you're just
I'm the worst, dude.
It's like the longer we drag it out, the worse we make it, especially for us and them.
Yep.
And it's like, no matter what you do, it's going to hurt at some point. Like, there's no way around that.
Yeah.
So once you accept that you want to break up, that's just going to be part of it.
That's it.
So you have to, from that point, you have to make it as constructive, I guess, or at the least amount damaging.
Yeah, just
to
honest,
the other person.
Just honest.
Yeah, you have to be upfront. You can't always use the "it's not you, it's me" line. It doesn't work. And
no. Sometimes it is. But
sometimes it is. But here's a problem that I've came across.
But also, if it's you, don't fucking date anyone.
Yeah, if the problem is you,
if you're not ready to date people, just
don't jump into it.
There's a lot of people that need to like not be fucking dating people.
That's true. Because
they're not happy with themselves and
just leaving a trail of carnage.
That's it. You're just leaving a wake of destruction while you try to like figure out how to get yourself right in your head. That's
so I didn't know you knew my ex-girlfriend.
Dude, that's me though. You know, that was me for a long time. I was dating people when I really shouldn't have been dating people. And it took a toll, you know, on myself and on the people that I dated. And you know, I've tried to just learn from that and grow from that.
Well, like the reason I say that people are pussies about breaking up is that you need to tell somebody if they're doing something wrong that's causing you to want to leave, then you owe it to them to be straight up about it. And if there's something that about you that's making, you know, it not work, you need to be honest with that person.
Sure, but it's an interesting line too.
There is a line. Like, you don't have to be brutally honest.
I have a friend that dated a girl, and he was like very upset that she liked to go out